Okay, this is going to be the little ATC Accordion Mini Book holder thingy. And I don't have a sample made of this one, so we're actually going to kind of do it together. But you create the cover the exact same way, just different size as we did on the Twinchy book. So you're going to start with a piece of 9.5 inch by 6.5 inch cardstock. You're going to score it in half at 3.25 inches. Fold it, put the glue in there, glue it together, fold it down good, burnish it. And once it's good and dry, then if you want to round the corners, you round the corners. And the cover is going to be scored at, gotta find my notes here, at 4.5 inches from either side so that you create a 1/2 inch spine. So that just basically means that this part of the cover is 4.5 inches, 1/2 inch spine, and then 4.5 inches to equal your 9.5 inch length of paper. And then you folded and glued it in half to create your 3.25 inch. So that's going to be the cover for the ATC book. The pages are going to be cut 6.5 inches by 3.75 inches. So they're going to be 3.75 inches tall by 6.5 inches wide. And then you will put them in your scoring board of choice, and you're going to score each one on the 6.5 inch side at 3 inches and at 6 inches. I made 6 pages for mine. You can make as many pages as you want. If you make, really embellished ATCs, you might want to make less pages for a 1/2 inch spine, or you can increase the size of your book and make a wider spine to, hold more or hold thicker ATCs. So I've got all of these pages started here with the little punch sections. This one's ready to punch, and putting them together is exactly the same way as we did in the Twinchy book. You're going to fold and crease well all of your score lines, and then I like to go back and do that little angle on my 1/2 inch joining tab. Then glue all of your little pockets closed. And then take this is the 1.25 inch circle punch. And I just put it up in the little pocket to the approximate distance that I know it needs to be. Pretty good guesser there. And I've just done this so many times, I just have a kind of a eyeball measurement, and that's what I use. And anything close works for me, so that's all it needed. So that was pretty good. I didn't get those two off. And then I want to use ribbon as my tie closure on this particular book. So I've got my pieces of ribbon here, and I had a pencil somewhere on this messy, cluttered table. Well, I may have carried it with me into the other room. I don't see it right now. You'd think I'd have more than one pencil. Okay, I'll just kind of eyeball it. I'm just going to give myself the area that I know I need to apply the glue. And put some glue, because I want to glue the little ribbon pieces onto the outside cover. And I glue down about 1.5 inches or so worth of ribbon. Just whatever you have and whatever works for you. I just cut pieces of ribbon to use, and then whatever I don't need when all is said and done, then I just trim it off the end that's left. So there's that. So while that glue is drying, these are going to be the outside cover pieces. And then I'm actually going to decorate an ATC that is going to then embellish the outside cover of this particular book. And then this is going to be the little piece for the spine. And I'm not going to do any sponging of ink on the edges of this one. I want my white to kind of be pristine and show. But these are going to be lining pieces for the inside, just so that I have that kind of carryover of color, because the pockets are going to be just the plain white. And I don't have all I have done for the ATC idea for the cover is just a sketch in my notebook where I doodle, so I don't have the actual ATC started yet. But once I get it done, then I will come back and do a little flip through and show how I finished this one off, how I finished the Twinchy coffee themed one, and I have two more that I have bits and pieces cut out, and the ideas for them. I have another closure method and option that I'll show the idea for. So, and I cut these where I have about a 1/16 of an inch of the white showing around the cardstock. And let me glue my little spine piece in. Sometimes if I don't glue it when I'm thinking about it, I actually almost forget it. And get it pressed into place. Then the cover. So this one won't have to have anything else done to the cover right now until I begin working on the ATC that's going to actually decorate it. Glue that one into place and glue this one. So this one's actually going together pretty fast because I wasn't going to do all of the stamping and stuff like I did on the Twinchy one earlier. But I do have some other designs, or just decorative ideas for some, but they will have to wait until I get to that point. So that's basically the book with the tie closure and the covers done. So now we just want to do the pockets, and same as we did on the Twinchy book, you just want to make sure that that joining tab is offset for every other side of the pockets so that it stacks nicely in the book. Now, let me make sure I did that right. I still have to go back and double check myself because I sometimes think, oh, did I do that one right? So we will build the little accordion pocket section first. Pull that one up. And I like to stand them on the base of my work area, make sure the sides are even, and then just press that center into place. And add each one the same way. Just make sure side to side, and make sure that bottom is flush. And I think earlier when I did the Twinchy book, I had started saying something about a card front accordion pocket book thing that we had made years ago in a swap. And for those that don't know or don't understand what a card front is, that meant that basically you did not make the whole card. You didn't make, like a fold-over card. You made the second layering measurement of a card. And that was the card front, and you would send that, we usually did a few at the time, as part of your swap, and that could then be used by the recipient to make cards that she could then use, and it would have the decorative, front that was done by you, but then they would finish the card off in their own manner of making it. So your basic card front for an A2 card, because that was mostly what we did, especially for swaps and things, it was just more economical. And remember, like we did before, you want to make sure that your piece is glued to the outer side of that bottom score line, and then just make sure that you have that same amount showing on either side. This one's going to be about that 1/8 of an inch. Press that into place, and you'll notice you can still see that score line from the bottom, the spine. You want to see it. If you cover it up, your book is not going to fold up right. So you've got to have that where you can still see it. But an A2 card is 4.5 inches wide by 4.25 inches, by 5.5 inches tall. Just make sure you have all that even. Press that into place good. And like we did on the Twinchy one, I open it up and just give that pocket a good burnish to where it burnishes all the way down to the lower end here. And voila, there's our little ATC book. But anyway, your card would basically be 4.25 wide by 5.5 tall. And when you measure incrementally down 1/4 of an inch, you would make a card front that was 3 3/3 wide by 5 inches tall. And that we had to do 3 of those, and that was our swap. These are some of the little watercolor ATCs that I painted a few weeks ago when I was gone with my husband. And for now, I just thought I would use this little box to house these until I get the cover made for it, and then decide if it's going to take on a theme or look or life of its own. There's that one and that one. And now these ATCs didn't have any embellishments on them, but they were cut out of watercolor paper, so they are a little thicker. But you can see how nicely they go in the book. And let's see if we can tie this thing closed. Me and my little nimble arthritic fingers. I have a time sometimes doing this. And so there's our little book, and that's the Twinchy book from this morning, and this was the first Twinchy book that I made. And usually they will stand up on the 1/2 inch spine, but even if they didn't, they're still cute, just laying flat. And you can have them in either format. You can have the format going up and down, or you can turn them like this to look like a book as far as decorating the covers. So that would be, totally up to you. But that's just how quick, easy, and simple it is to make either an ATC or a Twinchy accordion book. So I hope you'll give those a try. I have the 2 videos. This one I'll load in just a few minutes. The other one's already on my YouTube. And then I'll come back and I'll do another little short video of just some others that I have made, just with some different, themed covers or whatever for them. So thanks.